There is a quiet moment every woman knows, usually late at night when the house is still and the mirror feels louder than the world. You lean in, not out of vanity, but curiosity. Who am I becoming now? The lines did not arrive overnight. They were earned through worry, laughter, sacrifice, resilience. Yet something inside you whispers, I still want to feel radiant in my own skin. Here is the truth no one says out loud. After 45, your body is not breaking down. It is asking for a deeper conversation, skin, collagen, elasticity, glow. These are not surface issues. They are messages, signals from a body that has carried others, carried responsibility, carried time. And when we respond with shortcuts or single solutions, we miss the wisdom hidden underneath. Castor oil has become a quiet hero in many women's routines. Thick, ancient, grounded, used for generations. But here is the uncomfortable insight. Using it alone is like knocking on a door and never stepping inside. The real transformation does not come from one ingredient. It comes from harmony, from understanding how elements work together, just like a woman's life does. This is not about chasing youth. That race ends in exhaustion. This is about nourishment, about feeding the skin what it actually recognizes, about reminding your cells that renewal is still allowed, that softness is still possible, that glow is not reserved for the young, but for the aware. Tonight, I want you to think differently, not in terms of products, but in principles. Synergy over isolation, intention over habit, respect over force. When the right oils meet, something remarkable happens. Absorption deepens, circulation responds, skin stops defending itself and starts cooperating. And the metaphor goes deeper than skincare. Women who thrive after 45 are the ones who stop doing everything alone. They blend wisdom with action, patience with aging skin is not broken, it's undernourished consistency, self-care with self-respect. We are not here to reveal a trick. We are here to awake a knowing, one that lives in your hands, your rituals, your reflection. And as we move forward, you will feel this shift not just on your skin, but in how you see yourself standing in the second half of your life. Tell me when you are ready, and we'll build a foundation together. Aging skin is often spoken about like a problem to be solved, a flaw to be corrected, a quiet betrayal by time. But that framing is not only wrong, it is harmful. It teaches women to fight their own bodies instead of listening to them. Skin after 45 is not damaged. It is tired of being ignored. It is dusty in a world that keeps offering it restraint. Think about the years behind you. Late nights when sleep came last. Stress carried silently because others depended on you. Meals eaten quickly. Water forgotten. Emotions swallowed. Your skin lived through all of that with you. It adapted. It protected. It held the line. And now, when collagen slows and elasticity softens, it is not collapsing. It is asking to be fed differently. Many women reach for castor oil because they feel its weight, its seriousness. It feels like something that means business, thick, grounding, ancient. And there is wisdom in that instinct. Castor oil has a unique ability to support circulation and soften tissue. But when applied to skin that is already depleted, something subtle happens. The oil sits, it coats, it protects, yes, but it does not always nourish deeply on its own. Like rich soil without water, the potential is there, but activation is missing. This is where understanding replaces effort. Nourishment is not about intensity, it is about recognition. Skin cells respond when they feel safe, not pressured. When you layer only one heavy solution, the skin can go quiet, almost guarded, especially mature skin. It has learned caution. I once spoke to a woman in her early 50s who told me she had tried everything, expensive serums, aggressive treatments, she said, "My skin feels like it's holding its breath." That sentence holds so much truth. Skin holds memory. When it has been stripped, scrubbed, and pushed, it learns to resist. Nourishment asks permission instead. Why castor oil alone isn't enough. When we talk about feeding the skin, we are really talking about restoring communication. Oils are not magic, they are messengers. They carry signals to the nervous system, to the blood vessels, to the cells responsible for repair. But one messenger alone can be misunderstood. Synergy creates clarity. Under the surface of your face is a network of capillaries, lymph, and connective tissue that thrives on movement and moisture. As estrogen declines, that network slows. Dryness is not cosmetic, it is biological. Collagen fibers stiffen when they are not bathed in the right fats. Wrinkles deepen not because skin is failing, but because it is dehydrated at a cellular level. This is why women who only chase tightening often look tense rather than radiant. Tightness is not youth, suppleness is. And suppleness comes from nourishment, layered gently, intelligently, consistently. There is also something deeper happening during these moments of care. When you touch your face with intention, when you slow down and warm the skin instead of rushing through a routine, the body responds hormonally. Cortisol lowers, blood flow increases. Healing shifts from emergency mode into restoration mode. That alone changes how skin behaves. This is not about adding more steps. It is about choosing better conversations with your body. Castor oil is a powerful voice, but it needs a companion that speaks softness, penetration, and balance. When that partnership exists, the skin stops defending and starts rebuilding. And as this understanding settles in, something else begins to change. You stop asking, "How do I fix this?" and start asking, "What does my body need?" Now, that question is the beginning of real renewal, and it opens the door to the next truth waiting to be explored. There is a reason balance keeps appearing in every system that thrives in nature, rivers that flow without resistance, forests where diversity creates strength. The human body is no different. Power without balance overwhelms. Softness without structure dissolves. Castor oil, for all its strength, carries a density that mature skin can sometimes struggle to interpret on its own. When something sits heavily on the skin responds by holding back. Absorption slows, pores hesitate, circulation stays quiet. This is not rejection, it is caution. Especially after 45, the skin becomes more selective. It asks, "Will this help me or will this suffocate me?" That is wisdom, not weakness. This is the power of oil synergy. Blending oils changes everything, not to dilute power, but to guide it. A lighter companion oil creates pathways. It invites movement. It allows castor oil to travel instead of linger. Think of it as opening windows in a room before lighting a fire. Without airflow, heat becomes oppressive. With balance, warmth becomes nourishing. I have seen women apply castor oil nightly and feel disappointed by the results. The skin felt protected, yes, but dull, heavy, almost coated. Then they changed one thing. They mixed it with a penetrating oil rich in essential fatty acids. Suddenly, glow returned. Not shine, glow. That quiet radiance that comes from skin receiving what it recognizes. This shift mirrors something emotional many women experience in midlife. For years, strength was the strategy. Endure, push through, carry it alone. And that strength worked until it didn't. Until the body and spirit began asking for support, softness, partnership. The same is true for the skin. Power needs permission to enter. A companion oil does more than change texture. It changes signaling. Oils like rose hip, sweet almond, or yoba resemble the skin's natural lipids. They speak a familiar language. When blended, they act as translators, helping castor oil move deeper, stimulating circulation rather than sitting defensively on the surface. Circulation is the unsung hero here. Collagen production depends on oxygen and nutrients reaching fibroblast cells. Without blood flow, even the best ingredients remain surface level. Gentle massage with a balanced oil blend creates warmth. Warmth invites blood. Blood carries renewal. This is biology, not beauty marketing. One woman shared that after weeks of blending oils and slowing her evening ritual, her face felt awake in the morning, not tighter, alive. That word matters. Youth is often mistaken for smoothness. But vitality is what we actually recognize as beauty. A face with movement, softness, and light. There is also a psychological layer that cannot be ignored. When you stop forcing results and start cooperating with your body, trust rebuilds. That trust changes posture, expression, even how you speak to yourself in the mirror. And the skin, sensitive as it is to stress hormones, responds accordingly. Using castor oil circulation, collagen, and blood flow. Explain alone is not wrong, it is simply incomplete, like speaking wisdom without listening. When you blend, you are not weakening its effect. You are completing it. You are allowing power to move with grace. And this understanding leads us naturally to the next realization. Collagen does not respond to pressure or urgency. It responds to rhythm, to warmth, to circulation that feels safe. And that is where true transformation begins to take shape. There is a myth that collagen can be forced back into existence if we press hard enough, stretch enough, stimulate enough. That myth has sold many products and exhausted many women. Collagen is not a muscle you command. It is a response, a quiet, intelligent response to the environment you create within your body and on your skin. After 45, the skin becomes exquisitely sensitive to circulation. Blood flow slows not because the body is failing, but because it is conserving. Estrogen once acted like a river guide, keeping vessels elastic and responsive. As it declines, the river still flows, but it needs encouragement, not force. Gentle warmth, repeated rhythm, nourishment that invites movement instead of demanding it. This is why oil blending matters so deeply. A balanced oil mix creates slip without drag. Your fingers glide instead of pull. And that gliding motion does something remarkable beneath the surface. It stimulates capillaries without triggering inflammation. It wakes up lymphatic drainage without stress. It sends a message of safety to the nervous system. Safety is everything. When the body feels safe, repair begins. Fibroblasts, the cells responsible for collagen, respond to oxygen, nutrients, and calm. Stress hormones like cortisol literally break collagen down faster. So, when skincare becomes aggressive, rushed, or anxious, it works against itself. I once observed two women of similar age, similar genetics, similar lifestyles. One treated her face like a battlefield. Hard tools, strong assets, tight expectations. The other treated her face like a garden. Warm hands, consistent care, patience. Years later, the difference was undeniable. Not in the absence of lines, but in the presence of life. When you massage a balanced oil blend into your skin, you are doing more than improving absorption. You are reintroducing rhythm. Slow circular motions follow the natural lines of the face. This movement mirrors how lymph wants to travel. It reduces puffiness. It clears stagnation. It allows nutrients to reach deeper layers where collagen lives. Castor oil alone can be too thick for this rhythm. It can cause dragging, which leads to tugging. Tug. Jing signals stress. Blended with a lighter oil, the movement becomes fluid. Effort disappears and the skin responds by opening, not tightening. This is also where patience. why gentle rituals work better than harsh methods becomes non-negotiable. Collagen does not rebuild in days. It responds to weeks of consistent signals. When women quit too early, they often say, "It didn't work." What they really mean is, "I didn't give my body enough time to trust me." There is something profoundly healing about this process. In a world obsessed with urgency, choosing gentleness feels radical. But gentleness is not weakness, it is intelligence. The body knows how to heal. It simply needs the right conditions. As circulation improves, skin tone evens, texture softens, fine lines begin to blur, not because they are erased, but because the skin beneath them becomes fuller, more hydrated, more alive. This is the difference between masking age and supporting vitality. And as this rhythm becomes part of your life, you begin to understand that transformation is not about doing more. It is about doing what aligns. Which brings us to the next truth. The way you apply care matters as much as what you apply. Ritual changes outcomes in ways routine never can. Most women approach skincare the way they approach everything else in life. Quickly, efficiently in between responsibilities, as if care is something to squeeze in once everything else is done. But the body does not heal in stolen moments, it heals in presence. This is where routine falls short and ritual changes everything. A routine is mechanical, ritual is relational. When you rush through care, the nervous system stays alert. The body stays guarded. The skin, deeply connected to stress hormones, remains defensive. But when care becomes a ritual, something subtle shifts. Breathing slows, muscles soften, blood flow increases, the skin begins to receive instead of resist. Think about how different it feels when someone touches you with intention versus distraction. The skin knows the difference, your face knows the difference. Ritual tells the body, "You are safe now." And safety is the doorway to regeneration. This is especially important after 45 when the body is less forgiving of stress. Even the best oil blend applied in a state of hurry will underperform. Not because the ingredients failed, but because the message was mixed. The body heard urgency, not nourishment. When you take a moment to warm the oil between your palms, inhale, and then apply slowly, you are doing something powerful. You are synchronizing touch with breath. That synchronization activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the state where healing happens. Cortisol drops, blood vessels dilate, nutrients travel more freely. I've watched women transform their skin without changing a single product, simply how stress and self-criticism affect your skin by changing how they showed up to the moment. One woman told me, "I stopped treating my face like a task." Within weeks, her skin softened, not just in texture, but in expression. The tension she didn't know she was carrying began to release. This is where castor oil blends truly shine. Their texture invites slowness. They ask you to stay, to feel, to massage gently instead of rushing to the next step. And in that slowness, the skin has time to drink. Ritual also builds consistency without force. When something feels grounding instead of demanding, you return to it naturally, night after night, week after week. And consistency, not intensity, is what the skin responds to over time. There is an emotional layer here that matters just as much. Women who rush through self-care often believe deep down that their needs are negotiable. Ritual gently corrects that belief. It says, "I am worth 5 quiet minutes. I am worth my own attention." That belief chants GS hormones. It changes posture. It changes how the face rests during the day. Skin reflects internal dialogue more than we realize. A face that is constantly braced against life will age differently than a face allowed to soften. Ritual teaches the muscles of the face to release, to rest, to let go of expressions that no longer serve. And as this practice becomes familiar, something else emerges. You start noticing how often you've been hard on yourself, how often you've tried to correct instead of cooperate, which leads us directly into the next realization. What you put on your face is never just about your skin. It mirrors how you treat yourself everywhere else in your life. Every product you choose, every emotion you repeat, every expectation you carry to the mirror is a reflection of an inner relationship. Skin does not live in isolation. It responds to how you speak to yourself when no one is listening. It responds to whether care feels like punishment or permission. Many women approach aging with a quiet hostility toward their own bodies. They chase correction. They analyze flaws. They scrutinize instead of witnessing. And the skin, deeply sensitive to partnering with your body. After 45, emotional tone tightens under that gaze. It braces, it protects. Not because it is failing, but because it feels judged. When you apply something to your face, the question beneath the action matters. Is it, how do I fix this? Or is it, how do I support you? One question creates tension. The other creates trust, and trust changes biology. I have met women who use the same oil blend, the same technique, the same consistency, yet saw completely different results. The difference was not discipline, it was attitude. One woman applied care with impatience, checking for results daily. The other applied care with respect, almost like a quiet conversation. Over time, the second woman's skin softened, brightened, and settled into itself. Her face looked less worked on and more at peace. This is not mystical thinking. Chronic self-criticism raises cortisol. Elevated cortisol breaks down collagen faster. It increases inflammation. It disrupts sleep. When a woman constantly evaluates herself as a problem, her skin lives in a biochemical environment that resists repair. Blending oils become symbolic here. Castor oil brings strength, structure, stimulation. The companion oil brings gentleness, penetration, familiarity. Together they model what midlife asks of women emotionally. Strength softened by compassion, discipline guided by wisdom, action paired with listening. There is a reason women who glow later in life often say they stopped fighting themselves. They stopped trying to erase their past and started honoring what their body had carried. That shift alone changes facial tension. It changes how the jaw rests, how the brow softens, how the eyes open. When you massage your face with a balanced oil blend, you are practicing cooperation. You are saying, I will work with you, not against you. That message travels far beyond the skin. It seeps into how you make decisions, how you set boundaries, how you rest. I once heard a woman say, my face stopped looking tired when I stopped being tired of myself. That sentence carries more truth than any product claim. Skin mirrors internal exhaustion long before it reflects age. As this relationship deepens, you become more observant, less reactive. You notice when your skin needs more hydration and less stimulation, more warmth and less correction. You stop copying what worked for someone else and start listening to what works for you. And this awareness sets the stage for the final realization. True transformation after 45 is not about real transformation comes from balance fixing what is wrong. It is about partnership between oils, between body systems, between the woman you were and the woman you are becoming. After 45, something profound happens if you allow it. The urgency to correct begins to fade, and in its place, the invitation to collaborate appears. Skin no longer responds to domination, it responds to dialogue. And this is where everything you've learned comes together. Transformation at this stage of life is not linear, it is relational. Just as castor oil reaches its potential only when paired with the right companion, your body reaches its potential when you stop treating it like a project and start treating it like a partner. Partners listen. Partners adjust. Partners do not demand instant results. When women try to fix aging, they often create resistance. Aggressive methods trigger inflammation. Inflammation accelerates breakdown. The cycle continues. But when the goal shifts from correction to cooperation, the body softens into repair. Collagen rebuilds slowly, quietly, without drama. Skin thickens where it once thinned. Lines soften because the foundation beneath them strengthens. There is a deep intelligence in the body that does not disappear with age. It simply waits for respect. When you blend oils thoughtfully, apply them with warmth, and move your hand with rhythm, you are speaking the body's language. You are saying, I trust you to respond in your time. This patience is not passive. It is active alignment. It is choosing consistent why over intensity. It is choosing nourishment over stimulation. It is choosing partnership over punishment. I've seen women in their 60s develop a radiance they never had in their 40s. Not because they found a miracle product, but because they finally stopped fighting themselves. Their faces told a new story, one of ease, one of grounded confidence, one of self-respect. The skin after 45 is not trying to look young. It is trying to look whole. When it receives the right fats, the right circulation, the right emotional environment, it expresses vitality in its own way. And that expression is unmistakable. Castor oil alone is like a strong voice speaking into a closed room. Blended wisely, it becomes part of a conversation, one that invites the skin to participate, not endure. And in that participation, change happens. As you stand in front of the mirror tonight or tomorrow, remember this. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where transformation becomes intelligent, where care becomes intentional, where beauty becomes rooted in respect. So the question is not whether you can improve your skin after 45. The question is whether you are willing to stop doing it alone, to blend, to listen, to partner with your body instead of correcting it. Because when you do, the results will not just show on your face. They will show in how you move through the world. And that kind of glow cannot be measured, only recognized.